Hey bookwalkers, welcome back to Get Me a Library. Today we're going to be doing a book review of The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. So if you know me, you know I love Lisa Jewell. You know that I am obsessed with her, along with Alex Lake, and they do the best thriller books. Can't say I've read every single thriller book out there, but I'm being biased and saying that Lisa Jewell and Alex Lake are the best. So I read this in November, end of October, November. I finished it in November quite quickly. So it's been a little while since I've read it, but I really wanted to do a book review on it. So going forward, I'm going to be anecdoting my books, so they'll have tabs. It'll be a lot easier for me to record and keep track of what I enjoyed and what I didn't like. So hopefully I'll be able to do this video without that and remember everything that I have read and what I liked and didn't like. So in the future they'll be a lot better. It's just I'm rusty. It's been a long time, and it's been a long time since I've actually started reading this. So like I used to do, I'm going to tell you what it's about. I'm going to try and do as much spoiler-free stuff at the beginning, tell you the plot, the characters, the story, go into a little bit into it without giving you too much away, and then I'm going to do some spoilers. And tell you what I thought about it at the end. Again, at the end I'm going to tell you what I thought about it without some spoilers, and then a little bit with the spoilers, and I will tell you every time there's a spoiler and every time there isn't, without the anecdoting and writing stuff down. I hope I don't give you any spoilers without meaning to, but yes, so I apologise if there is some spoilers where there shouldn't be. I will try my hardest not to give you any, but I will not tell you the end of the story and what happened until the very end, and then you'll know. So that way you don't have to watch it if you don't want to know. Okay, so let's get into it. Mum, there's some people here from college. They asked us to go back to theirs just for an hour or so. Is that okay? Midsummer 2017, a teenage mum, Tallulah, heads out on a date, leaving her baby son at home with her mother, Kim. At 11 PM, she sends her mum a text message. At 4:30, Kim awakens to discover that Tallulah has not come home. Friends tell that Tallulah was last seen heading to a pool party at a house in the woods near a place called Dark Place. Tallulah never returns. 2018, waking up in the woods behind the boarding school where her boyfriend has just started as head teacher, Sophie sees a sign nailed to a fence, a sign that says, "Dig here." And she digs. And she uncovers the story and the mystery, and you basically become Sophie because you're trying to investigate what's happening, and so is Sophie. So, the plot. Tallulah lives with her mum, her boyfriend Zach, their son Noah. So it's the five of them in the house because they've got her brother there as well. And Tallulah and her boyfriend are young, they're at school, college, and they have a baby. And she finds out she's still living at home with her mum, and her mum's like, do what you think's best, and she has the baby, and her mum looks after the little boy while she is at college. And then when she comes home from college, she does her college work and she looks after the little boy. Her and her boyfriend aren't on the best of terms, in the sense that her priority is their son and college, whereas his priority is just kind of making enough money and wanting to be with Tallulah. But it wasn't the case that he's not as into the little boy as Tallulah is. He is, but he doesn't understand that her priority is college and Noah. So one day she meets this girl, and she meets her at college. She's doing a different course to her, and they become friends. They start talking. They meet at the bus stop, they're chatting, they start to become friends, and she invites her to hers, and they get to know each other. And her boyfriend isn't happy about it because he's like, you don't spend enough time with me, you're always at college, then you're working at home with your coursework, and you're looking after Noah. When are you going to be spending time with me? So he gets a bit jealous, so she stops being friends with this girl. But every time she goes to college, she sees her at the bus stop, and they still get talking. And he's like, I saw you at the bus stop with that girl. I saw you at the bus stop doing this. I saw you doing that. Like, he starts to become this pain, this pest, and he starts to really get on her nerves. One day, she says to her mum that they're going to go out. They're going to go out to the pub. They're going to go and have some drinks. They're just going to try and solve their relationship, because Tallulah's getting to a breaking point where she doesn't really want to be with Zach anymore. So they go to the pub, And there is the group of girls that she has been talking to at school, especially the girl who she's become really good friends with, who's called Scarlett. And Scarlett's this mysterious girl who like lives in this like mysterious place, this manor, this house in dark place, and she's a bit wild, she's a bit funky, she's completely different to Tallulah at all. So her boyfriend Zach doesn't particularly like her. So they're at the pub on themselves, and the group of other people are there, and they come over, they get a chat in, and then Scarlett says, why don't you all come back to mine and we'll just continue this there. So they go back to hers, and at this point Tallulah's still messaging her mum, just said like, well, we've been invited to someone's house, we're going to spend there for a while. And Kim's like, yeah, that's fine, you know, enjoy yourself, because she never gets out, she's happy with the baby, everything's good. And then Kim doesn't get a message to say that she's on her way home. She doesn't hear anything from her. And even then the next morning, she's like, hang on, something's wrong now, because she would not have left Noah, even if she was out there having a good time, before she went to bed or something. Surely she would have messaged to say, how is he doing? Her boyfriend doesn't come home either. Both of them haven't come home. So a couple of hours later, Kim then decides to get Noah ready and go over to Zach's parents' house to see if maybe they've gone there, maybe they've stayed over, something. There must be a reason. And at this point, she still doesn't know anything about Dark Place, she doesn't know anything about Scarlett, about the friends, other than the fact that Tallulah had said that they've been invited to go round there. So she goes to his parents and they're not there, they're not heard from, they're not seen of, nothing. Calls the police, and then the ball starts to get rolling. They start investigating, but nothing. There's theories out there, maybe they ran away, maybe they've gone to a load, maybe there is another reason other than the fact that she's just run away from her son. And Kim, like myself, when I'm reading it, is very much like, no, she never would have done this to Nola, no, she never would have done this to me, she would have told me what was going on. There must be an explanation, a reason. But obviously the police have their theories, everyone around them has their theories as well, but it still doesn't make sense why Tallulah would have just gone off the rails and left her son, especially when she's been telling her mum that her relationship with Zach isn't been so good. Zach's parents are just, well, his mum especially is just like, yeah, they're, you know, they're just off having fun, you know, maybe they're having too much with the baby, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we're going to flash forward now to a year or so later. And it's coming up to the anniversary now of the fact that they went missing. Not necessarily the anniversary of the fact that they went out, it's when they went missing, when the investigation started and whatnot. So now we meet someone called Sophie. So the way that Lisa Jewell has done this book is it will be like, first chapter will be June 2017, and then you'll go along a bit longer. Another chapter will be August 2018. And when you go into the future, you've still got Kim and her story going on, and then you've got Sophie's story, and then when you go back into the past, you just have like Tallulah, you just have Kim. So you have the characters that are involved now, they're past apart from Sophie's. With Sophie's, it'll be stuff that she's doing then and there. Okay, so Sophie is a detective writer, so she writes her own books, a bit like Lisa Jewell, and she's living now with her boyfriend, who's now got the role as a head teacher at this new school. So they've moved there to go and live together. In certain schools they can live close by, so he lives in the head teacher's house with Sophie. So they live together now in that house. So one day she's going off a garden path because she works from home, so she's literally doing nothing other than writing. So she goes down to the garden path one day and she sees a sign that says, dig here. And she digs there and she finds something. Spoiler free, guys, I'm not going to tell you what she finds. But she finds something that starts to make her inquisitive about what's happening, what happened in the past, with Tallulah. So she Googles it, she finds out a little bit more information, she hears a lot about what people have been saying because she's investigating it. And the school that she goes to now, which we find out later, Scarlett actually went to that school. So it's very close to what's going on. She's in the same town and place where a lot of this stuff was happening. So she looks into it, she starts writing about it, she starts thinking, oh my god, this might help me with my writer's block because I'm struggling with my next book. So she investigates it and she finds that there's quite a lot of people that are still on the school, the campus, that know what happened. So she starts asking them questions, she starts digging into it. Her husband's like, yeah, or boyfriend is like, yeah, sure, you know, you do what you think's best. And then she goes along and she meets Kim, who is Tallulah's mum, and she starts to get involved in the mystery and what actually happened to Tallulah. Then we've got a couple of chapters which flip back to Tallulah, talking about the build-up as towards when she went to Scarlett's, what happened at Scarlett's, what happened with her and her boyfriend, and they're both missing. So the story involves both of them. It's not just one person that's missing, it's two teens that have gone missing and left their baby at Kim's. Two now, Kim's still not giving up on what had happened. She still doesn't believe that Tallulah ran off with her boyfriend. She still believes that there's something more to it. So her and Sophie basically get together. The stuff that Sophie's found, she's obviously told the police and the detectives, and he's round Kim's trying to help her to try and, you know, find out what's happening, because it's still an open case. So they start investigating further into it. They go up to Dark Place, they go around the town, they start asking people questions, anyone that was around locally at that time, and they start to dig deeper into it, and more clues to keep popping up. Sophie starts to find similarities as to the books that she's written, and at one point I was like, is Sophie involved in it? So it's very good the way that Lisa writes it. She gives you lots of clues and lots of spoilers and gets you thinking that any one of these characters could have something to do with it, apart from obviously the baby. But it's like all these characters have got something to do with it. Has Kim actually got something to do with it? Is she just pretending that she's upset? The way that it's written is very intense like that. You're constantly wanting to know what's happening next. I found it very hard to stop at a chapter and not continue and go to bed, because it's so, I want to read this book. I'm constantly wanting to know what happened. So I'm going to give you some spoilers. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about who Scarlett was, a little bit about Tallulah and her boyfriend's relationship, and a little bit more into the characters that Sophie meets. So these are all going to be spoilers until I get to the point where I tell you what I thought about it without the spoilers. Spoiler number 1. Who is Scarlett? So Scarlett is this girl who goes to the school that Sophie is working at, and she leaves. She goes off home. She was out of school for a long time. She becomes a little bit rebellious. She's a bit naughty. She's had quite a few relationships with older men. She's not someone that you would want your daughter to be hanging around with. But somehow Tallulah has this attraction towards her. So Scarlett's got this appeal. And I think Tallulah doesn't realise it at the moment, like the very beginning, but she's starting to have feelings towards Scarlett. But she's with her boyfriend. She's never thought about any girls like that, but now all of a sudden she's starting to have feelings for her. And I don't know personally whether she actually did love her, because her priority was always about her son and Noah and breaking up with her boyfriend. Whereas Scarlett, I don't know whether she did love her either, or if it was just some sort of obsession, because of what happens at the end. I do think that it was more of an obsession, more of a lust, whereas Tallulah was like, someone's paying me attention, someone's nice to me, someone cares about me. So when she first meets Scarlett, she doesn't tell her anything about Noah. She tells him only about Noah. She only tells her that she lives with her mum, she has a boyfriend, she's doing this in college, blah, blah, blah. And Scarlett tries to open her up and starts to say to her, if you're not happy with your boyfriend, you should leave him. If you're not happy at home, you should do something about it. If you're not happy, sort it out. Be happy, be free, be flexible like myself. So she starts spending a lot more time with Scarlett, and the more time she spends with Scarlett, the less time she spends with her boyfriend, which means that when she does spend time with her boyfriend, she's not happy. So she hints to him that she's not happy, and eventually she says to him, we need to break up, that's it. You'll still be part of Noah's life, you're still going to be his dad. And he starts doing the manipulative things that some guys can do, where he'll be messaging her saying, oh, you call yourself a mother, you're out, you're not with Noah. Noah likes me more than you. Like, oh, Noah's crying when he's with you, but he's not crying when he's with me. Stuff like that. So when she's with Scarlett, she stays over one day and he's like, oh, you call yourself a mum. And he films a recording of the baby crying, oh, your mum's not here for you. Your mum doesn't love you. Picking him up, going, oh, there, I'm here for you. I'll always be there for you. And when she hints that she's going to break up with him, he picks up the baby and he goes, basically Noah's going to stay with me. So he's very much like in her head, manipulating her and not accepting the breakup. And then when he finally does accept what she's saying, he starts to change and starts to be a little bit different, but he's still manipulating her, which is why they go to the pub this day. So they head off to the pub, and at this point Tallulah has found a ring and knows that he's going to propose to her. He's saving up enough money for them to move out of the house, and because of that he's putting pressure on her by saying, I'm the only one working, I'm working day and night for us, for our future. And she's like, but you don't need to do that, just get enough money to pay and help me with Noah, but you don't need to do that. I don't want to move out, I'm happy at home with mum, I'm happy at home having the help and being able to be at college and do this and without any pressure. So they go out with his intent to propose to her then and there, thinking that he can then get to marry her and trap her. But In the background, she's telling Scarlett, and Scarlett's like, let's come up with a plan. I'll get involved when you're there, and we'll tell him that we want to be together and that you don't want to be with him. So that's exactly what they try and do. However, they go back to hers and something happens there, and one of them ends up being killed. Do I tell you who it is? Big spoiler, major spoiler coming up. Scarlett is behind Zach, and he's arguing with Tallulah, and Scarlett then hits him over the head and he falls to the ground, and maybe if the ambulance came he would have been okay, but the ambulance didn't come, therefore he was killed and taken down into their basement kind of thing. It's like a secret door, and he's taken down there. Tallulah had seen everything. Scarlett's mum appears, and they basically drug Tallulah and put her down in the same basement thing as her boyfriend. And they say that because of what's happened, we can't get the police involved. We need to make it out like you have run away. You've both run away. He's done something. You've had an argument, or you've both run off together. And then what we'll do is we'll then bring you back into the fold, and you've come back and he's continued to run off, and then you can have your life here. So Tallulah's all over the place, but she's thinking, okay, let's do this. She's got no choice, but okay, I get it, I understand the plan. But then what happens is Scarlett's mum then gets further involved, and they actually kidnap Tallulah and send her away to one of their holiday homes with them, and the whole family just deserts Dark Place and just leaves everything. And at this point, Tallulah's mum, Kim, has now got the message that her daughter is missing and that she can't find her anyway, and then everything that she knows could be a lie. Like, who the hell is her boyfriend? Did her boyfriend do something? Who is this Scarlett? Who is this friend that she was staying, like, you know, around the house with? What's going on? And she starts to investigate. And then we're now in the present day, when Sophie's trying to investigate stuff, and Sophie's finding out information about what had happened. She's starting to find out who Scarlett was, this mysterious friend. One of the girls there knows who Scarlett is. One of the boys there went out with Scarlett. So there's a lot of people around Sophie that's helping her with the investigation without realising it. A lot of people have been planting clues because they know something was up. And one of the girls there, who was asleep upstairs when it happened, actually knows what had happened but pretended she was asleep to keep herself safe. So when we finally find out what had happened at the very end of the book to Tallulah, although there has been a murder, it does end very well. It is a good story like that. But yeah, it turned out that Scarlett actually was obsessed with Tallulah, and it was all caused by her, and if she hadn't have been her friend, none of this would have happened. But then again, she might not have been with Zach, so although it's not good Zach was killed, things kind of worked out better for Tallulah, but obviously Zach was killed and it wasn't very good. Spoiler free, what I thought about it: I really enjoyed the mystery. I loved learning about it, and I loved getting involved into the crime and being Sophie and understanding what had happened. I liked the way that the ending all folded together, so all the pieces worked out well. You find out about Tallulah, her boyfriend, you find out about how Scarlett and her family and like the Dark Place and stuff was all linked. It was very intriguing and very exciting, and I can't express how much I love Lisa Jewell's writing and the way that she tells the story. I love that we constantly go back and forth with timelines, but it's not in a confusing way. She always ties up that chapter perfectly, and then you want to read the next chapter because of the past or the history or whatever. So we've gone from 2017 to 2018, like it's constantly flicking back. There's so many characters' points of views and their versions within the story. But the way she does it, she ties it up wonderfully, like it's so well put together. I did not suspect that Scarlett had anything to do with the death until I knew that she had something to do with the death. I constantly thought that there was something more to it. I always thought there was something to do with Scarlett. I always thought it had something to do with Zach. I just didn't think what had happened would happen. I didn't expect that Tallulah would be kidnapped and taken away to live in this place. I didn't think that. I had no idea. When we find out that there is actually a secret underground basement in the house, I thought there's got to be something to do with that. When they found bones, I thought Tallulah's dead, oh my god. But then you find out that it wasn't Tallulah, it was actually Zach. There is a sigh of relief, because Zach isn't a character that I would rate. He's not someone that I would be like, oh, he's a cool character. I liked him, he was a good boyfriend, good dad. I didn't like him. So it was like, oh my god, it's not Tallulah, thank god. Where the hell is Tallulah? I was constantly like, I want to find Tallulah. I need to be Sophie. I need to investigate this myself. I need clues. I need answers. I want to know now. But Sophie does a very good job, because without her finding the dig here stuff, without her finding all these things and having knowledge from writing these books before, she would not have been able to have helped Kim, and they would not have been able to have gone to Dark Place. She wouldn't have thought to look there in the first place. She wouldn't have found the clues to the basement door and all this kind of stuff. So really, Sophie did solve the mystery. And at the end, there was justice. Scarlett and her mum then went to prison. Something happened to them. So there was justice in this book. Unfortunately, Zach has lost his life, but Tallulah was safe. Noah had his mum back. Kim could settle and relax. So yeah, it all really worked out well. So Tallulah goes missing. She leaves her son at home. She's gone missing with her boyfriend. Where the hell is she? What the hell is Dark Place? Why is this town so mysterious? What the hell is going on? Pick this book up. I rated it a 5 out of 5. I love Lisa Jewell. If you've not read Lisa Jewell, read it. I don't have a favourite. They're all so good. The Night She Disappeared and The Family Upstairs are always going to be my top 2 so far with Lisa Jewell. If you've not read them, read them. They're so good. The writing is just amazing. The only problem is this is a hardback, so it's very hard to take with me wherever I went. I can't just put it in my pocket on my coat and walk off. But other than that, I don't have any complaints. I could have got a paperback, but yes, please just pick it up. It's so good. A missing woman, an abandoned mansion, a family hiding a terrible secret. What's the secret? Where the hell is Tallulah? Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've read it, if you haven't read it, if you want to read it, if you've read any of Lisa Jewell's, and also if there's any books that sound a bit similar but you think could be better, let me know. I'd love to have a look. I'd love to read them and to start tabbing these books and start writing about them and doing even better reviews. But yeah, until then guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.